Welcome, everyone. We're happy that you're here. It's May 21st, 2025. And my name is Renee Beth Poindexter, and I'm coming to you from Portland, Oregon. And it's my great pleasure to be here tonight to spotlight a friend that I've just met over the last year, but it feels like we've known each other many lifetimes, Pat Castagna. And Pat, you're coming to us from New York, I believe. Is that
Yep.
right?
Long
Yeah.
Island, the
Long
South
Island.
Shore.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, exactly. So, what's really beautiful about our connection is that Pat has taught me so much. My first career was as a teacher, and I thought I wanted to be a nurse, but I just didn't have the emotional fortitude to become a nurse. At least that's what I thought. So, I'm always really, say, in acknowledgement of people like you, Pat, who has been a nurse. I mean, you said that you've been 53 years as a licensed nurse, in which you practiced for 37 years. And your journey around health and healing and how you've helped so many people in your life journey. I'd love tonight for us to really share about what your journey about health and healing has been for others, but also to fine tune and what you've discovered for yourself that's made a complete difference in the way in which you're looking on the cusp of your 75th birthday, people. Pat's going to be joining the 75-year club, in which I'm already a member. And what 75 means in terms of aging today is a lot different than, let's say, our grandparents, right? Or our parents. So, Pat, thank you for being here and sharing your story. Let's just start off a little bit with you chose nursing, and it wasn't just one phase of nursing. What you've been in nursing for many, 37, 30, what was it? 37,
37. Yep.
37
37
years
years.
with lots of experience in different domains. So tell us a little bit about why did you choose nursing and what was your journey like?
So first off, thank you for having me here tonight. Really excited about being here. And so I heard you say, Renee Beth, I was the opposite. As I was, going into high school and, they're saying, what do you want to be? And at first I thought I wanted to be a teacher. And as I looked around in the classrooms, I was like, I felt very intimidated, even the students that I was with. And I was like, there's no heck I'm going to get in front of a class of these kids. So then I kind of took that turn to go into nursing. And what kind of really solidified really my purpose of being a nurse was when I was 18, the night before I was going to leave to go into nursing school, I was in a really horrific motorcycle accident. And with my left leg was severely injured. It could have been if I had been possibly in another institution, it might have been even amputated, but it wasn't. And it was during those months that I was recovering, I really took hold of like, yeah, wow, I do want to be a nurse. And because of the care that I received and um, just being right in the mix of it. And I know that that really formed me even further um, to be the caring and person that, I had at my bedside that I wanted to be for others.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, so that propelled me into those 37 years. The first 20 were clinical, and I started out right from graduation, charge nurse of the newborn nursery and of the sick nursery back then, because that was 1972. So it has a very different look now. And then I went into med surge, and the last 7 years of my clinical practice, I went into cardiac nursing at a big heart center here on the island. And then unfortunately, not for unfortunately, but Dawn and I were in an accident, and no, 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 we weren't even together yet. Because of the abuse I had put my body through those 20 years, an orthopedic told me that I could not do bedside nursing anymore. And so the following 17 years, I went into case management. So I just would be on the phone all the time with patients and guiding them through their journey of dealing with the different things that they needed to do, have, their medications, surgery, whatever it was that I needed to be there for them. And although I wasn't there face to face anymore, but I
Right.
knew that when I rang their phone, they were really
Right.
excited, that I
Yeah,
was there.
right. So through your experience, you've seen everything from newborns to cardiac and everything in between,
Hmm.
supporting people and their health and well-being. And along the way, by the way, you were a mom and
Oh yeah.
you had six kids and then
Well,
another.
I raised six biological children and then eventually had another one through our, another relationship. So yeah, so seven, and here we stand 18 grandchildren later
Yeah.
that they blessed us with.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. And then you thought you were, going to head towards retirement, which you have been in a way. But something also occurred to you when you learned about Lifewave as a community. And it was like you saw this through your partner, Dawn, who we spoke with last week. And
Hmm.
if you guys haven't seen that, you need to watch the Dawn Castagna Spotlight. But you guys have been together for how many years?
30
And
years.
30 years, and you're both
30 years.
nurses.
Yeah.
And you're, what's the age difference in your relationship?
We're just under 20 years.
Right. So you're 20
Yeah.
years older than,
Yeah, I am.
I mean, chronologically, let's say.
Chronologically, yeah.
We're going to get into the biological difference in a minute here, but chronologically, 20 years older. So Dawn discovered these phototherapy patches through her friend John at a party. And have been really good about taking care of Dawn and everything in her busy life. And you witnessed some things that were going on. And what was your first belief about these patches, these phototherapy patches?
Oh, well, it wasn't even about the patches. It was even just hearing that it was network marketing, MLM, because years before I could kind of, many years before, even before Dawn, my former husband and I were kind of, not burned, but we had spent a lot of money going to conferences, traveling, taking six kids, buying these products, and never got any compensation, monetary compensation at all.
Right.
And so that was my first, like,
Oh,
don't talk to me
so
about it.
it's like you weren't even interested in how the product worked because you were interested in
Hmm.
how the product came to market. And then there's something that I remember you saying. It's like when they were saying that this could actually reverse aging. When you first heard that,
Yeah,
what were
that,
your thoughts? I
yeah.
mean,
So,
a nurse of 53 years, and we're gonna like reverse aging. What was your thought?
yeah, so Dawn was listening to one of David's videos, and I was, in the other part of the house there, and I heard this, and I was like, "What? What is he saying?" And that's what piqued my curiosity because, I was 72, 73 years old then, and I have to say, I felt I was pretty healthy. For some of my friends who are even younger and older, like in comparison, I was pretty healthy and doing well.
Right.
And but when that really piqued my curiosity.
Right. Well, I remember you saying, "What? I think that's a little malarkey. I got to
Oh,
check this."
right.
Right. It's like,
Yeah.
I mean, I just want this for the audience and anyone that you know in your
Hmm.
world that's from traditional healthcare. This is cutting edge technology that wasn't really taught when you went to medical school, right?
Well, it
So
still
what
isn't taught.
I know. But the idea that you could actually not fall apart on schedule with each decade,
Yes.
and the fact that your partner is 20 years younger than you, it piqued your interest, even though you were somewhat skeptical. Is
Yeah.
that,
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
yeah,
Definitely.
right.
Because I wanted to be around with her as long as I can. And I had declared a few years ago that I would reach 100. And even though I said 100, in my back of my mind was just, I hope that I'm not sitting in a chair, kind of drooling from
Right.
my mouth and bent over,
Oh yeah, with IV drip
yeah,
systems going through.
or
Yeah.
well, not even that, or seeing or hopefully able to see, little
Right.
great
Right.
grandchildren running around.
Right. Exactly.
And
Exactly.
this gave me the hope that I could actually be really involved,
Right.
even at 100,
All
with
right.
my great grandchildren.
Right. So you had declared that you, by the way, for those of you who don't know, Pat has been involved in personal growth and development, like many of us, for many, many years, and have been fine-tuning your personal understanding of how you could be your highest and best contribution, emotionally, physically, mentally, And then you come into this and it takes you to a whole nother level. So, but before you even met the Lifewave community, you had a vision that you could live to 100. And
Yeah.
now it's probably even more than that, based on what you're discovering about reversing aging, that's documented that we can actually reverse aging. Okay, so that's like a nice mental construct,
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, reverse aging. But then when it starts to show up for you, now, how long have you been on the LifeWave patches? How long has it been now?
It's just under 20 months,
Okay,
19
20 months.
plus week or
And
two.
when
Yeah.
we talked earlier, you're keeping a journal and you're aware of the things that are shifting for you. So let's just take it one by one in terms of some, your head and face and so forth. You started to notice some changes, over time. So what did you notice first time?
So one of the first things I noticed was that I had a lot more gray and white framing my face. And all of a sudden I'm like, where's it going? It was like disappearing. It was growing out. And even my beautician, my hairstylist even noticed that. My eyebrows at that time were as white as John's. And no offense, John, but they were. And now you can see, I don't have any eyebrow powder or anything on them. You can see my eyebrows. And my eyes were a lot more squintier and closed. And now they're round and nice and open. And the best piece I saw, and that was using, the Alavita products, was I had on the side of my eyes those crow feet, they called all those lines, and like they're they're gone. They're gone. Like it's like they're gone.
Right,
And my face, my skin always had like a coarse, not that it was really dry, but like now I rub my face. And I remember my grandmother always saying, "Oh, feel my face. It's like a baby's ass," And I was like, "Oh, I hope when I get to her age." And when I was getting to her age, I didn't have that. It was kind of like just, what didn't look bad, but it just wasn't soft.
right,
And now my skin is soft.
right. There's something else going on with your eyes. You know what I mean? It's like you got a report about your eyes
Oh,
that
well, then I mean, so that kind of brings us into another thing, how, I have really interrupted the life sentence of being changed to medications and to specialists. Because over the past 2 years, the first specialty that I no longer need to see is a rheumatologist. And I was diagnosed, I don't even remember how many years ago, back in the 200s, early 200s, with an autoimmune. And I was put on all kinds of medications. And, that's kind of like, that's how your life is going to be now. I'm going to be on those medications. And unfortunately, with with those medications, it started to do changes to my retina. And then I had to then now see another specialist called a retinologist, not just the ophthalmologist. I had to see the retinologist. So fast forwarding, it's going to be almost 2 years ago now. Um, well, it's over a year. It's over a year that I've been discharged from rheumatology because blood work, I do not have any of the markers anymore for that autoimmune condition.
Wow, that's pretty
And
amazing.
and last week I went to the ophthalmologist and I had said to her, I told her, that sure I was taking all those horrible meds, but I haven't for now a number of years. And I said, do I really need to see a retinologist anymore? Because I'm not on the meds. And she pulled up my record, and she's in a eye care network that she was able to see my retinologist report from last year. Well, she saw the last two, and she saw that last year's was even better than the year before. And she said, yeah, you don't need to see him anymore. Like, I'll follow you,
All
and if
right.
something comes up, then we'll get him back
All
involved.
right, all right. So just for those of you that may be listening to this the first time, we're not saying, notice in Pat's story that she works with her health providers who are noticing the changes is going on with her. And we don't treat, diagnose, cure, mitigate any disease state, but we believe the body can rebuild, repair, and regenerate itself. And with the right, light technology, and that's what these patches are all about. So then you didn't need to wear glasses. Is that right, Pat? You don't need to
Oh
wear
yeah.
glasses?
Over a year ago, seeing the ophthalmologist, and I'm there and they're doing the eye exam and they're like, you, because I even had noticed for myself and I was like, do I really need glasses anymore? I feel like I see better without my glasses. And, checked it and he was like, yeah, you have perfect vision to pass for the driving requirement.
Right. That's
And I'm like,
amazing.
all right, I'm in for that.
Okay. And most of these people, I had the same thing happen to me. I used to wear contacts and glasses and so forth, and I don't need them anymore. When I go to the doctor, they're going, this is odd, because most people, as they get older, their eyes get weaker.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? This is odd.
Yeah.
But there's some other odd things that are happening once you get in the driver's seat. And you were talking about really taking charge of what about this medication list I'm on? And how is my body regenerating with, master cell activation that activates the whole body's ability to repair with our 300 billion new cells we make every day? You started to notice over time, and again, you've just been on the patches a little over 2 years, right?
Yep.
What are some of the other things that you've noticed about the medications you were on and how you were able to work with your doctors to wean off of those? There were a couple other
Sure.
medications. You want to talk about those?
So yeah, so just to remind everybody that, remember by 60, 10% of our master cells are only left that are truly operating. The other ones are just there hanging around because they just don't have the energy or anything because of the way the body is aging. And so, as I'm telling you all of this, this is, my body is regenerating and fortifying those master cells. So I then started working with my cardiologist. And many years ago, again, I was put on a cholesterol medication that lowers your cholesterol levels because I was always like just above. It wasn't outrageous, but above. And they put me on that nasty medication. And I didn't even being a nurse, I didn't even realize the side effects. Um, so I already had a thyroid condition. And over the years, my thyroid then in correlation with this other medication started getting more impacted. And, then my thyroid medication kept on rising and rising. Um, so I switched. So, of course, and this is another thing, is that, Dawn and I have been on a journey with nutrition, and we started seeing changes with that. That's about 4 or 5 years ago. Exercise is a big piece of this. And then with coming on the patches, the hydration, and then of course the patches. So I kind of call it my four-legged table. Like these are the things that I know are supporting me to move forward with my age reversal process. Um, so with the cardiologist, I was like, how can I get off this medication? And he's looking at me and he's like, you never get off that medication. And I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, no. I want to get off this medication. And so with being on the patches and having the other three things in place, nutrition, exercise, and hydration, um, I am now off. I am off that medication. So my body is now also trying to repair from the damage that that medication did to my other pieces of my body, especially my
Right.
thyroid.
Right. So you're
Yeah.
noticing at one point you were on several medications, now it's down to two, and you're working on
Yep.
your body's
Yeah.
giving you signals on what to do because your blood pressure's improved.
Right. So that's what happened also. So then, during like a year ago, over 6 months ago, a year and a half ago, went to one of the visits and I was like, I get dizzy, when I'm going to stand up, going to stand down or sit down. And he was like, oh, I think you're on too much blood pressure medication now.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, do you think so? And took me
Right.
off and,
Right.
I'm still well.
Right.
So I'm hoping, um, and I see him next month,
Right. That's
that I'll be able
awesome.
to get titrated off
Right,
the
right.
second one.
Well, part of your story, Pat, is that you developed a relationship and collaboration with your health providers,
Hmm.
And I found, when I say to my health provider, hey, I'm gonna do these things and you're gonna see some shifts and this is what I'm doing and could you still be on my healing team, but I want you to help wean off this and they're surprised. They're kind of
Yes.
surprised. They're going, gosh, I wish more people were like you, taking ownership. So that's a lot of what we do in this community. And I'm grateful that you can add your wisdom in your years in the healthcare field. But, common people just say sleep issues and stamina and stuff like that. How is that on the cusp of your
Oh
75th
my goodness.
birthday? What are you imagining that's
Yeah,
happening now?
so sleep, and I remember I was going back in my journal and I saw sleep was within the first 4 to 6 weeks that was greatly improved. Um, I had a very erratic sleep. Um, I had even had a sleep study a couple of years earlier, and it said I had like irritable sleep disorder. I don't know, I didn't even understand that there was such a thing. I didn't have the, you know, not breathing at night, but I had this, which I kind of knew, like constantly waking up, not going into dreaming. Like I now can be dreaming, get up in the middle of the night because I need to use the bathroom, come back, fall back to sleep, and recontinue the freaking dream. I'm like, how does
I
that? And it's even while I'm up and doing that, it's kind of like the dream is still kind of going with me, and I
love
come back to bed and I'm back in this dream again.
Right.
I'm
Lucid
like, how
dreaming.
does
That's so
that
awesome.
happen?
There's a whole nother reality that we can access when we get to deep
Yeah.
sleep, and that's amazing. And what about stamina? Because how many grandkids do you have?
Well, we have 18, but the big thing with my stamina is the ability that it allows me to be, and this is the piece that I kind of get emotional about, is the ability that I'm able to be out in my garden for 4, 5, even 6 hours. And don't get me wrong, I'll come in after, and believe me, I'm lifting bricks, tile, like I'm digging, like I'm not just going around and deadheading plants. I'm actively out there moving stuff, lifting stuff, like I'm all over the
Right.
place. I
Exactly.
come in and I am tired. I am achy. And then I'll come in and I prepare dinner and we go to bed. And the next morning, I get up and it's like, okay, world, here I come again. Where prior to this, it'd be like, oh, I gotta get up,
Right.
do
Exactly.
breakfast. Yeah, I
Exactly.
felt draggy,
Right.
but not anymore. I'm kind of like up and out and
That's
meet ready to
amazing.
meet whatever the world is
That's
presenting to me.
amazing. That's amazing. And back to the 18, I remember hearing, and I don't have your health background, but I read a book and went through a workshop called Your Body Remembers. So your body remembers that accident that you had when you were 18 years old that helped
Probably
cause you to
does.
become a nurse.
I know I
But
remember it.
but the idea of your body, and you look at your ankles, you were having some problems with your ankles that go back to when you were 18. And that is also shifting. Do you want to say anything about that?
So I don't know so much if it was, that was due to the accident or just with the aging. I've noticed, and it's only over the last month or so, that, after working out in the garden and being very active during the day, at the end of the day, I would see that my ankles would kind of be a little swollen. And now I'm like getting like they're always nice and small in the morning. But I'm noticing, wait a minute, they're not swollen getting into bed.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
what the heck is that from? Well,
Right.
I know what it's from.
Right.
It's from using
Exactly.
the patch.
Right. This idea of reducing the swelling, and
Yeah,
so forth, and the body's ability to rebuild and repair is pretty amazing. Well,
yeah,
Pat, your story is so amazing. I want to make sure we leave enough time for questions here, but there's one more
sure.
thing. One more thing. When you look to your future with your partner and your 18 grandchildren, and the fact that you're 20 years chronologically younger, but biologically you're catching up, so the difference in age, how will that create a future for you? And also, how does that tie into your personal growth and development passion? You know what I mean? Because you love to coach and support people in becoming their highest and best. Is this Lifewave community helping you not only grow
Oh,
younger, but
yeah,
continue with your passion in helping people?
yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, to me, I almost feel like, I'm definitely aging, reverse. And like I feel like I'm in my 50s. Maybe 60s, low 60s. But I definitely you know, like it's so weird to feel the way I feel. Yet I know I'm going to be 75 next week. Um, and then to be able to what this what Lifewave will be able to give to me and Dawn is a lifestyle that she shared last week, that within 2 to 3 years she's going to break away from corporate. And a lot of people know we love to travel. And Ray had said this earlier to Renee Beth that, Dawn and I will become the jet setters of the world. We'll just be like traveling all over because this business can come with you wherever you go.
Right,
So
right,
we can
right,
be on the beach having conversations with new brand partners or new prospects and with our phones
right.
registering people like it'll be so congruent
Right,
to
exactly.
our whole life.
Right, right. And just to make a statement, people who are listening, Pat wasn't looking for a business.
Oh,
She was
no.
she was in retirement, right? And she was, but still so committed to helping people. And the thing is, this is not business as usual, right? It's like your opportunity to help people. And when you hear people that are in pain, discomfort, whatever they're going through, you can go, I might have something for you. And then the way in which we work together as community, sharing insights and
Yeah.
resources, people can order directly from the company at the same discount that you do. And then once they come on board, there's this celebratory community that helps witness people's personal transformation. Because I didn't know you, Pat, but now that I know
No.
you and all the shifts and changes, you are on my radar screen for I want to be jet setting with you when you're traveling the world, It's like we can do it. So, are you ready? Is there any final comment? Because we'd like to open it up to questions.
Yeah, just that it works. If you work it, it's kind of like, um you have to put the patches on and use it. And um even if you think you're healthy, everybody your master cells are dying off anyway.
Yeah,
And eventually, when you get into your 60s or 70s, all of a sudden the doctors will be saying, oh, you need this or you need that. So even for the younger people, you know, why not be in a position where you'll never have to have those kind of conversations?
that's beautiful. Yeah, absolutely. We're paving a new pathway for health and
Hmm.
wellness. And thank you for being on that path for over
You're
53
welcome.
years with the next level of evolution.
Yeah,
Thank you so much. So, John,
thank
I
you.
want to, John's been behind the scenes here. Let's open it up to Q&A. If you have a question, right, John, should we put it in the chat? Is that what we'd like? Or
Uh, let's go for hands. Lauren,
Can
uh,
I just say that Pat is the reason I got onto the Lifewave journey because I saw her 1 year after she was on the patches, and I was blown away at this glowing woman who wasn't wearing glasses. And I was like, what are you doing? And it's the patches, and you amaze me all the time. So thank you for being a great friend and also for leading by example because, I wouldn't be here without you. So, and
Oh,
Dawn, Peg,
yeah.
thank you.
Thank you, Lauren. And
great.
I so appreciate, Lauren, what you are doing and building for yourself
Right,
and for
right,
your future.
right.
so there's a question in the chat. Pat, what patches are you using for your eyes?
Okay, so the eye protocol that I use, or strategy that I use for that is I either put an Eon or an Alavita right here on the third eye or pineal gland, and then I rotate between Ice Wave and Carnosine. It would be two Carnosines, and I do temples right above the eyebrows, and then below the eyes, not directly, kind of on your cheekbone because this area here is very, the skin is very fragile. And also what I do is I use a eye mask and I put the carnosine or the ice wave right where my eyes would be for the patch because you can't put the patches directly on your eyes. So
Right.
yeah.
And the
And
X39
I've been
helps.
doing that protocol for over a year.
Right. But you also wear X39 every day, right?
Oh, X39. So Dawn has coined me as the candy shop. I'm like the little kid in the candy shop with these patches. So I use X39, X49. I do the energy enhancers with the five elements. Um, and then I also use SP6 during the day. And then if I have anything going on, like if, I did maybe hurt myself or something and I need an extra support, I'll do ice wave and, yeah, ice wave and carnosine and glutathione to help with that healing. And, oh, Eon, almost every day I always put an Eon right here. And not that I'm like an excitable person, but I just like the way Eon kind of just helps me go along the day and without any stress or worry. Yeah.
And I thank you for that. I think you answered the next question, which was what patches did you use to lower your cholesterol? And it sounds like there aren't any patches you're not using.
Yeah, I use all 10 of the patches. The one I didn't mention was Silent Nights. And the Silent Night, at night I put it right here on the side of my neck. The 30, I attribute the regeneration and going back to homeostasis for blood pressure and cholesterol levels is the 39 and the 49.
Right.
Very, I
Exactly.
mean,
Exactly.
yeah.
Right. So for new people listening, they might go, wow, that's a lot, and you just get started and you start to grow and determine watching your
Hmm.
body and how things shift and change. So that's great, Pat. I don't know, John, is there any other questions that you want to
I don't
ask
see
or?
any questions.
Okay.
Are there any other questions or um, oh, this is a great question. Did you feel the change right away or did it take time?
It took time
How long did it
because
take?
because the changes that were going on wasn't like when we hear somebody like my wife who had the patches put on her knee, and 5 minutes later, she's walking across the room without limping or pain. Um, Mine, I would say probably within 6 to 8 weeks was when I finally started to see the changes.
Right. Exactly.
And
Yeah.
how on a scale of 1 to 10, how consistent are you in wearing at least the X39, X49 every day?
I would say probably 97%. There are
Oh,
days I get up and I do, but let's say out of a month, if I even miss 2 days, and they wouldn't be 2 days consecutive either. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So Dawn, you have the final comment question before
bring
we
us home,
close this
Dawn.
evening?
Final comment is how proud I am of my wife, who was a no, right? Like, no, I'm not doing this, right? But I was talking to her before this, and I just wanted to point
Oh,
to,
I know.
when
Yeah, I knew
when
you were
Pat
going to say.
turned 50, she was filling up a small pill case, and it had like her first probably cholesterol meds and things. And it was only a small amount. We weren't big vitamin takers at that point either. And I remember distinctly looked across the table from me and said,
Oh, I
if
had my
this is
autoimmune meds in there too.
autoimmune meds, yes. If
Yep.
this is what
Thyroid,
it's going to
autoimmune,
take every day,
cholesterol.
every week, then getting old sucks. And I'm not looking forward to that. I'm good with dying young. And I looked at her and said, you got a lot of grandkids yet to come. There's only a few right now. And so I was reminding her of that. She actually looked at me and said, did I say that? So, when you're 50 and you start pushing those pills or you start having to get them, you know, remember this, because this is what 75 in another 7 days looks like. And this is what's possible in using pills, even though there was a mindset of, wow, I have to have pills for the rest of my life. You don't have to be sentenced to pills, and you have to work with your practitioner to do that. And we've collaborated well with our practitioner.
Yeah, with all of them. And they still don't get it, but they were willing to work with us. And they do
Well,
look
and we keep
the part.
loading them with patients, new patients who are using LifeWave patches. So when I go, I say, remember that book I gave you? Or remember so and so, so and so, so and so, and so and so that came? We're all doing the same thing. What are you waiting for, doc?
Yeah, well, the system has to shift and change, and they're all in it. So that's part of being that trailblazer with the jet-setting attitude. I'm
Hmm.
so glad you decided to not fall apart on schedule, Pat. There's a couple more questions. Do you see the questions there?
Yeah, Tracy has a question. Tracy, you want to go ahead?
Hi, how are you?
Hi,
Um,
Tracy.
hi.
Thanks for
Um,
joining.
yeah, thanks for sharing. It was awesome. I'm just curious. I mean, it's a little bit more about myself. Um, Patching for pain. So, if I'm patching, let's say my knee, because I have just from dancing my whole life issues, um, can I cause more damage? Because like I put the patches on the ice wave most of the time, doing ice wave with Eon or ice wave with glutathione, just playing around to see what feels best, and it definitely takes the pain away pretty instantly. Most of the pain gone, not all of it, but most of it. But I work out, so I'm like, is this bad that like it's still there, right, the issue? So is this making it worse? That's my
I
question.
would say it's not making it worse. If anything, it's helping. Yeah, it's not making it worse. And because you're still so active and with the dancing and everything that you do with your young family running around, like like I said earlier, like I'm running around in my garden. And at the end of the day, I feel it. But I'm hoping how do you feel in the morning?
It depends. It,
Okay.
it it switches. Like some, I don't wear the ice wave every day, so that's good for me. Like I could wear it one
Mm,
day, and I'm like, you know what? I don't need it today. Um, so it does change. There's other days where I'm like, oh, I didn't wear ice wave for like 2 days. I feel it, and then I patch myself, and then I'm like, oh my, like I put those patches on. I tell this to my friends all the time. I'm like, I put them on, and it literally feels like put a brace on my knee. Like I just feel the support go right. It
Wow.
just feels stable. I'm like, it's amazing that I feel that way. I'm like, I think it's so crazy. And they're looking at me like I'm crazy. I'm like, I'm not crazy. Gotta try it.
Well, I would make a suggestion, Tracy, to like even try for like a week or 10 days straight to see what kind of effect you would have, you
Okay.
know, because it's kind of like, taking in a leave for a couple days, then you don't take it for a couple days, and then you're achy again, and then you take it for another. So I kind of feel like what you're sharing is that's what you're doing. You're not
Right.
taking the leaves. Thank God you're taking the patches. But I think you need a little bit more consistency to kind
Okay.
of get you through, regaining what's
Okay.
happening. Yeah,
Perfect. Thank you so much.
you're welcome.
All right, thank you. Okay, so um, Renee, Beth, you want to take us home?
I think I saw Navat did Navat have a question?
Yeah, we've answered it in
It was
the
it
I
was
did.
chat.
Hi,
answered in the chat.
can I ask you a question? I have a
Sure.
torn, I have a torn meniscus. How are you, by the way? Didn't see you for a long
Yeah, how
time.
are you, Navat? Thank you for
Good.
joining.
Thank you. Thanks for the invitation. I'm using actually the patches for a few years. A friend of mine from Greece, she introduced me to them. But I'm not using it every day. That's why I have a lot of the X39, X49, and I didn't know that if I could use it at the same time. And where do you put them when you use them?
So great question. So 39 and
The-
49 can be used together. So one day you would put the 39 at the base of your
I
neck,
see.
right there by that
Mhm.
bump where your spine, the big spine
Yeah,
starts. And then the other
under
one at the
the,
base of your spine. And every day you would just
I see.
alternate.
I see. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
you're
And
welcome.
the other question, I got torn meniscus on my right knee, and I have a lot of pain. I went to physical therapy, didn't help me so much. So I'm hoping that patches could help me. What I should put, like glutathione and ice
Well, the ice
waves.
wave would be perfect. Do you
Mhm.
have ice wave?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, put ice wave. You palpate where you find the most sensitivity is. The tan goes on that point, and then
Mhm.
you kind of put the white one around to see where around in a circle, and you
Yeah,
figure out like where would be the best position where you're getting the most relief.
I see. Thank you.
You're
Appreciate your
welcome.
help.
You're
And good
welcome.
luck with everything. You look
Yeah.
great.
Thank you. Good seeing you.
Okay, well, thank you everyone for being here. And Pat, thank you for living your truth and continuing your desire to help people. And we now have a new word for retirement. It's called refirement, right? You're refired to be even more who you're designed to be, regardless of age, as you grow younger biologically. And we want to wish you the happiest of your 75th birthday. I know it's going to be a
Thank
big
you.
party. And thank you for being a part of our world,
Oh, thank you.
everyone. And for those of you that are listening, if this is your first time, please get back to the person that invited you here, and they will lead you to whatever you need to do next. And we'll make sure that you get your questions answered. I must say that tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, I do an overview for 30 minutes. So it would be noon on the East Coast. But this is a recording that you just heard with Pat, and we'll make that available to you. So get back to the person who invited you here, and we'd love to have you show up in our community. And John, I want to thank you for being the man behind the scenes, for making it all work. Thanks, everyone. Have a great rest of your
Thank
evening
you,
and a
Tom.
great holiday.
Good night, everyone.